So I want to talk about class attributes and a special method that we can put inside each class called initialize. So let's run with this animal class that we've created here. And what we can do is have attributes, and these will be essentially little variables or instance variables that we can use for our objects. So there's a special method that you can add to each class, and it's called initialize. And all you really need to know right now is that whenever you run that .new method, right? So whenever we want to create an object in the computer's memory, what's going to happen is it's going to run this special method called initialize, and you have to spell it exactly like that. So what we can do here is, if you recall how parameters work for methods, we can pass in certain functions. So let's say each animal has a color and each animal has an age. What we can do now is, inside this initialize method, we can create some instance variables, what we call instance variables, and these are just special variables that we can use throughout the code inside this class. So for example, let's create an instance variable called animals color. And what we'll do is we'll pass in this particular color and put it right here and store it as this variable animals color. And then if we want to show the animal's age and we want to store that as a variable, we'll say, let's just call it the animal's age. And then again, we're passing in this parameter here, right down here, and doing just a standard variable assignment. Now instance variables have this @ sign in front of them. So now when I run this new command, this new function, we need to make sure we pass in some color and some age. So we could do that simply by saying, okay, we want a brown animal and we want to display the age. Let's say it's 3 years old. So now when we create the actual object from this blueprint, what's going to happen is when we do this new method, it's going to pass whatever string we want to put, or Boolean or object, whatever we want to pass in here. In this case, we're just making sense of it by passing a color. And it'll come down into here, and then what will happen is that string brown will now be equal, it'll be assigned to this instance variable here. So it'll be equal to animals color. Okay, and the same thing will happen for age. When we run this new command, this new method, the number 3 is going to get passed into this initialize method. And it's going to be right here, and what's going to happen is it'll get passed down and stored as this variable here. And so why is this useful? Well, it's useful because now we can use these in other methods throughout this animal class. So we could say something like this, and output using string interpolation. Drop in these instance variables. So now when we have this animal and we create it in the computer's memory, we have an object, and let's store that object inside a variable. We'll call it a. And then we can just simply do my description now. And so now let's run this code and see what happens. We've done quite a bit here, but it's fairly basic as long as you kind of just follow what's going on here. Remember, the new method just executes this special initialize method. And remember, you have to spell it exactly like that. It's a unique method that you get with each class. And all we're doing is we can customize it however we want. We want to give each animal a certain color and a certain age whenever we instantiate it as an actual object. Whenever we tell the computer, hey, we want to use some of your memory now to create an object. So if we run this, and we need to just make sure that we have this end here. Now if we run this, we'll see There we go, it's executed properly.